repeat until loop, and the third loop is while do and while. This is what we have discussed into our last class regarding the pseudocode for iterations, and I discussed with you that when are some of the conditions where I have to use these loops. Like, for example, if this is a for to next loop, I explained you that whenever you have a set number of repetitions, so you know where you can use it. The second area is repeat until, and in repeat until you know it that when the number of repeats is not known, or it should be completed only at least once. These are two of the criteria for this loop. Third loop is while do and while. That means that the number of repeats is not known or it may never be completed. Then I discussed with you regarding for to next, regarding repeat until, regarding while do and while. So I hope that the basic syntax is clear for to that. And for taking the things to the next level. Now, I'm going to work with some of the examples of these loops so that it is quite understandable to you. So the first example we are going to use right here is of a for to next loop. So when it comes to a for to next loop, I can say that I first need to set up a variable with a start value and for to next loop, and with into this loop, what I have to do first is that I need to set up a variable, and that variable should must be having a start value and end value. This is the condition for that. And the next thing that you need to do with this loop is that you need to increment your variable, increment your variable. This is one of the steps, and you have to keeps on incrementing that until the end of the value is reached. Until the end of the value is reached, or you can say that until that iteration finishes. Then again, we can use that loop as long as until that value is not changed. So for this example, right here, you can say that the first thing that I am doing right now is here, I am taking a variable. I have taken this variable named as for counter, and I have taken the value from for variable 1 to 10. For variable 1 to 10, for counter 1 to 10, output enter student's name, and then input student's name along with the counter and next. So let me explain you this. First of all, I have taken a variable. This variable is right here, and with this one, this step is done. The second thing I want is that a start value and an end value. This is your starting value. This is your ending value. That means that for counter 1 to 10, that means that for students 1 till 10, what you need to output, enter the name of your student. And just after that, whatever the name you enter here, for example, Ali, Aisha, this is going to be entered into this variable of your counter. Now, here we are using another concept that is to be known as an arrays, but I'm going to discuss this afterwards into our lecture. For now, what you need to understand is that this program is going to work like. For example, this is your counter one. The first thing it is going to output is that it is going to output right here, enter your student name. When the user is going to enter Ali, now this name is going to be added into your student's name. That means that student's name is basically a list, and the name of that list is your counter. So it goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is giving you the name of 10 students. Is it clear?
Yes.
What is the name of the list right here? The name of the list is your counter, which means that the values that are being entered here is being known as your counter, like counter one, counter two, counter three, counter four, counter five, and the variable is a student's name. So there is a difference. The names that you are entering, for example, Ali, for example, Aisha, these names are being entered into your variable, and your variable is your student name. But student name cannot comprehend a list of items. Like if there are 10 students, for comprehending a list of items, like for example, if there are 10 students, you need to use another variable that is used into our fall to next loop, which is known as counter. So whenever in your exam, it's something like counter, you need to bring it into your mind like something that you are counting it. Like for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this goes like this. I hope this example is clear. Do you have any queries in this?
No.
Perfect. Now I'm moving on to the second example. The second example right here is of repeat until. So again, for using the repeat until loop, this is used when the number of iterations is not known. When you do not know the number of iterations. That means that you do not know the number of iterations and the actions are repeated. Your actions, your tasks, they are repeated until a given condition is true. That means you are repeating it again and again, again and again until it becomes true. Is within to this loops, all of the actions or tasks there are, like if there are any tasks or there are actions, they are completed at least once. One more name for this is that it is a post condition loop. And basically, post condition loop means that it is basically a test for exiting the loop at the end of it. Exiting the loop at the end. So I hope that you are clear regarding a post condition or a precondition. You can relate it to like as a post birthday celebration or a pre birthday celebration. You know what happens in post birthday celebration is that you celebrate your birthday after the real date, And when it comes to a pre-birthday celebration, you celebrated like earlier. So if I'm just referring to a post-condition loop, a post-condition loop means that you are giving that condition to exit the loop at the end, right? Which means that your loop has to be completed at once. So these are some of the conditions. These are some of the criteria for do that. So let's just now discuss that how this loop is going to work. So this is certainly one of the examples. So the first thing I'm going to do right here is I'm going to give my uh, total to be set as 0 because these are my variables. And then I'm going to set my marks again as 0. Now I'm going to implement the loop here, which is repeat. And now I am going to add a total, and total I'm going to add total plus marks, and I'm going to output enter your marks or enter -1 to finish. This is my statement. Now I'm going to input whatever the marks I have right here, and then I'm going to add the condition of until marks are equals to -1. So in this example, if I can explain you this, you can see that I have initialized the first two areas. What are those areas? These are your variables. And why I have done that? Because those variables where I need to enter the value, they are first initialized as 0. So you can see here I have made the total as 0. I have made the marks as 0. That means that I have initialized them. Then I have started my loop. You cannot ask me that, sir, you can enter these statements and then write the loop, because I taught you in the last class that first you need to write the loop. First, you need to open the loop. So this is the area where I have opened the loop, repeat, and this is the area where I have closed the loop, repeat until. And right into this loop, I stated that whatever the value is in your marks and whatever the value is in your last total, this is going to be added and this is going to be added into your total. For example, if total has a value of 5, if your user entered the value of 5 and if marks are entered as 10, so this is going to be a total of 10. And I have given a statement message to my user that whatever the marks you are entering, this is being entered into your variable marks. And I have given another statement that if you want to finish this program and you do not want to run it, you can press the -1. And then I have given a condition right here that repeat until. That means that you have to run this program until anyone enters -1. If someone enters -1, that means that this program is completed. So here, the first rule, you do not know the number of iterations. Like in this program, you never know that when would someone enter -1. So it has to be keeps on going on again and again, again and again. The second area is that actions are repeated until a given condition is true. That means that this action is again going to be completed until someone enters -1. So this is also being followed. The third area is that actions and tasks, they are completed at least once, so that uh, even before starting it, like I do not have a condition at the start of that. So it is primarily important that at first it has to be completed. And the third point is that it is post condition. Post condition because your condition that marks the end of it, or your condition that has to become true, is given you at the end of that. So do you have any queries in this?
No.
बेटा इसमें कोई सवाल?
नहीं सर.
All clear?
जी.
Okay. Now, just after repeat until, I am going to discuss the last example that I have right here. This is an example of a while do and while loop, and some of the conditions that we have discussed regarding it is that it is used when the number of iterations is not known. That means that you do not know that how much times it has to be repeated. Your actions are only repeated while a given condition is true. That means that until that becomes true, your actions are going to be repeated again and again. So just in case if it is not true, they are not going to run. Similarly, I can write here that actions are not true. This means it will not run. And another example of this is that it is a precondition loop. That means that it tests for exiting the loop at the beginning. Tests for exiting the loop at the beginning. So this is basically a precondition because your condition is right first here. So for this example, the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to give uh, let me write here. First of all, I'm going to initialize my total to 0. The next thing is that I'm going to output enter value for marks -1 to finish. Then I'm going to input marks and while marks are not equals to -1, in do total is equals to total plus marks output enter value for marks and -1 to finish, and then input marks, and the last thing is that you need to add here and while, which means that states the closing of your loop. So let's discuss this as well. So this loop basically starts with the initialization. Initialization means that this is a variable I have set it as 0. Then I have entered a statement that you need to output your value for marks and you need to enter until and you can enter -1 to finish. Then you have uh, added inputted your marks, but you can see that in this while do and while I have written the statement first. Statements मैंने पहले अपने पास लिखी हैं इस वजह से क्योंकि while do and while के लूप के अंदर जो कंडीशन मैं दे रहा हूँ वो कंडीशन मेरे पास शुरू में टेस्ट हो रही है और वो कंडीशन शुरू में जब ही टेस्ट होगी जब उससे पहले आपके पास कोई भी वैल्यू होगी सो यू नो इट इज रियली लाइक इट्स सेंसेबल इनफ कि आपकी वैल्यू जब भी टेस्ट होगी जब आप उसको पहले कोई ना कोई वैल्यू दोगे तो वैल्यू देने के बाद ही हम कंडीशन लगाते हैं ना तो यहाँ पे दिस क्वेश्चन शुड नॉट अराइज दैट सर व्हाई हैव यू एडेड द कंडीशंस एट द फर्स्ट सो जस्ट आफ्टर adding the conditions I have added the statement of the while do and while loop I started this that while your marks are not equals to -1 do means start do means input total whatever the values in your total and total plus marks and then output enter value for your marks and -1 to finish. So just in case if you wish to end this loop, you can write here -1 as well and you can input marks and end while. So here the first condition is being tested at the start of the loop. This is the first condition. First condition that is being tested to start the loop. Like if you want to start it. And the second condition that is for your working is right here. That means that if you want to input marks, you can enter them right here. So do you have any confusion in this?
No.
While loop starts here and while closes here. So this is done and certainly when working over this, I also have some examples of input and output statement and I hope that I do not need to discuss with them to you. बेटा हमारे पास इनपुट और आउटपुट स्टेटमेंट्स भी होते हैं अब इनपुट आपके पास हमेशा यूज होगा डेटा एंट्री के लिए देखो जब भी मैं आपके पास यहाँ पे इनपुट यूज करता हूँ इनपुट मीन्स दैट आई एम यूजिंग इट फॉर योर डेटा एंट्री और अगर यहाँ पे मैं आउटपुट यूज करता हूँ तो आउटपुट इज यूजुअली यूज्ड टू डिस्प्ले इंफॉर्मेशन ऑन screen. For example, I can write that input name, or I can write that input student marks. Similarly, I can write here output name, or I can write here output with the statement output your name is, so anything that is in inverted commas, yeah, as it is उठ के आ जाएगा और इसके बाद जो भी वेरिएबल का नाम होगा वो हम यहाँ पे लिख दें तो वेरिएबल के अंदर जो भी वैल्यू होगी वो यहाँ पे आ जाएगी So this is it.